Everybody, welcome back to the Sunnydale Review. I'm Brian.
I'm Jillian.
And Jillian, how you doing? We're talking about Buffy again. We're back.
I know. I'm so excited. Buffy season 5 is a hard one to get through, but also a very, very good season. So I'm excited to kind of be on this journey. Some of the episodes I'm like, I love this episode, and some of the episodes I'm like, I hate this episode because it breaks my heart. So
Right.
it's a mixed bag, but overall, very well written, very well directed, very well acted season. So I'm excited to get into it. How are you feeling? I know that you sometimes prefer Angel over Buffy. So now that we're jumping out of Angel and into Buffy, how do you feel to be back?
I'm excited. I think it's been long enough to where it's like, I'm happy to see all these people that we spent a long time talking about and their various relationships. It is funny. We're starting season 5. I saw a meme on one of the Buffy meme groups that you invited me to, and it was like seasons 1 through 4 of Buffy, and it was like the animated version of Winnie the Pooh, all the characters like happy, and then it's like season 5 through 7. It's like the very like weird, realistic version of them from that Christopher Robin movie that came
Oh
out
yeah.
recently. Just like implying that is like much darker, much like more heartbreaking in the back half of the series. So not so much in this first episode, though. This one's a pretty fun one.
This one is fun. So I guess we can just jump right into it. Or at least in this video, we're going to be covering season 5, episodes 1 and 2, being Buffy versus Dracula and Real Me.
Yes.
So I honestly, like, as season openers go, this might be one of like my it's up there for like my favorite season openers.
Right.
This one's just fun. It's just weird and it's fun.
It is. Oh,
So
man.
all right. So jumping in, Buffy vs. Dracula, season 5, episode 1, originally aired September 26th, 2000. So almost 20 years exactly from the
Oof, that is weird.
right? Um, I mean, I felt like they were just celebrating the 20-year anniversary. Like, I mean, granted, the last 8 months have felt like an eternity, but I
True.
feel like they were
Yeah.
just celebrating the 20-year anniversary of Buffy season 1 airing.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're at season 5, and we're literally, I mean, we're recording this on October 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, what, four, like a week ago would have been the 20-year anniversary of this episode
Yeah.
coming out. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
But anyway, written by Marty Noxon and directed by David Solomon. So there's a
Awesome.
solid writing and directing group on this one. All right, and I'm gonna apologize ahead of time. I took way too many notes for this episode because I enjoyed it. So
Right.
bear with me, guys. So episode opens with Buffy in bed next to a sleeping Riley. She's restless and can't sleep. She heads out for some patrolling. We see her hunt down and slay a vampire. Then she heads back home and crawls back into bed with Riley, finally able to relax and fall asleep. The Scoobies plus Riley and Tara are having a beach day. Riley and Buffy are throwing a football around. Riley tells Buffy she throws like a girl, and Buffy puts a little bit more effort into it and nails Riley in the head with the football, almost knocking him out. I
Very
love
fun
that.
scene.
I love that clip of just watching him get nailed in the head with the football over and over and over again. It's fine. I like Riley. I do. Let's see. Xander is struggling to light the grill and make burgers. When Willow steps in to help, she uses a spell to light the grill, much to the admiration of her friends. She talks about how it's all about balancing the elements. Then out of nowhere, a rainstorm pops up, and I'm pretty sure Willow's like, "I didn't do it. I didn't do it."
Oh, man.
Let's see. Unknown to the Scoobies, who probably chalked the rain up to Willow's fire spell, it's not actually her fault, as she says. We see a wooden coffin box getting delivered to a castle somewhere in town. During the delivery of the box, an arm breaks out, killing one of the delivery guys. So,
Yeah.
um,
It's to the abandoned castle district of Sunnydale. Very strange.
I actually have a note in here about like, okay, how big is Sunnydale? Because it is somehow grown from the bad side of town is one block from the good side of town to they have like at least one, if not two colleges. They now have just these random castles.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if this is part of like his magic that he conjured a castle or something, because I do think
I
in
don't
here
know.
there's a line between Riley and Giles where they're like, where did this castle come from?
Well, because I mean, Angel was living in like a castle mansion at one point
That's true. That's true.
after the factory burned down. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
So let's see. At Giles's place, Willow has helped him set up a computer and a scanner. He sets her to task with scanning his demon hunting books into the computer. Did we learn nothing from iRobot Eugene?
I get. I don't even know. I don't know what to say to this. This is oversight
Yeah.
in writing or in just characters.
But I was like, no, Willow, don't do it. Let's see. Willow comments that Giles has been Mr. Project all summer. Giles lets her in on a secret. He's planning to go back to England and wants the Scoobies to have everything they need to fight whatever comes their way after he leaves. Willow says that he can't just leave since he's Buffy's watcher, even though he was fired from the council. Giles says they'll all be fine without him and they'll stay in touch.
Yeah, so I guess Giles is just like, all right, nothing to do here anymore. Gotta leave.
Even though he was a major proponent in them being able to kill Adam last season, but it's fine.
Right, right.
It's like he's Buffy's mind, right? So
Yeah.
like, it's like, didn't we end last season with the whole "we're all stronger together" thing, and now you're just like, I'm out. But it's
Yeah, it would make more sense if there was like a protege of Giles, you know, someone waiting in the wing, but there's not really a person to replace him, you know?
yeah.
He's just like, all right, well, peace.
It's kind of funny that like Giles in a way was kind of forced on Buffy as a watcher, like in season 1, just in the way of like she didn't really have a choice in the matter. It was just a given that she was going to work for the council and that Giles was there to help her.
Right.
But now that Buffy has quit the council's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even send like another watcher to just be like, you know what, he's here if you need him, if you want him, he's around. If he notices something going down, or we know that something's going to be like scheduled to happen or whatever, then like he'll let you know or something. Like she just quit, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, they really get their feelings hurt by Buffy quitting.
Well, and I mean, like, I get that there's another Slayer in Faith, but Faith's in jail right now. We saw that in season 1 of Angel. So I don't know what the hell the council's doing. They're just sitting on their asses.
They're just waiting to break Faith out of jail. They'll surely go well this time.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'd love to see that. So let's see. Later that night, after having dinner with Joyce, Buffy heads out on patrol. She fights and slays a biker vampire while we see another tall, dark-haired vampire watching her from a distance. Once she slays the biker vamp, this new vampire approaches her. He speaks in a slight accent and doesn't seem to respond to Buffy's sarcasm and snark the way that other vampires do. She asks if he knows what a slayer is, to which he responds, "Do you?" The vampire finally introduces himself as Dracula. Buffy's surprised and a little bit excited. Her response of "Get out" kind of reminded me of, and I don't know if this is a reference you'll get, Brian, but in the Princess Diaries, when Mia is told that she's a princess and her reaction is "Shut up."
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of what it reminded me of.
Oh man.
But yeah, I think it's so funny that like he introduces himself and she's like, "Oh, get out!" Like seriously.
Oh
um,
man.
we find out that Dracula knows Buffy's name without her even giving it to him, and tells her she is known throughout the world. He's flattering and charming, and Buffy reminds him that like she's the good guy. To which Dracula responds by telling her that her power is rooted in darkness. He asks if she feels it, to which she responds, "No, I feel bored." Then tries multiple times to stake him. Instead, since Dracula does have his powers in this universe, he turns into smoke and disappears each time she tries to stake him.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of a weird thing to include Dracula in this universe. Before I saw this episode when I watched the show, I definitely did not expect Dracula to be a real part of the universe, especially not with his various powers. So, interesting concept. I can almost guarantee this started as a joke in the writers' room.
Okay.
Like, oh, we should put Dracula in an episode, and like, but do you want to? Like, can we do that? And then they did it.
Yep. I bet that's exactly how it went down, actually. It's just hysterical. Um, so let's see. We cut to Willow and Xander walking past the graveyard. They catch up with Buffy, who is attempting to kill Dracula, but he keeps turning into smoke. Xander starts to mock Dracula, and his accent starts referring back to, like, the count on Sesame Street. It's like, 1, 2, 3 victims, ah ha ha. Only to have Buffy tell him to cut it out because it is Dracula. Uh, Dracula gets bored, says, "Now is not the time," and turns into a bat and flies away.
Oh man.
Oh my god. It's just. Yeah. um, Buffy, Willow, and Xander head to Giles' place where they're joined by Riley, Anya, and Tara. And fill the group in about their encounter with Dracula. Buffy's blown away that Dracula knew about her. Anya reveals that she knows Dracula and they hung out a few times back in her Vengeance Demon days.
Of course.
Xander asks Giles about how Dracula was able to do so many tricks, like turning into smoke and into a bat. Giles says there's a lot of myths surrounding Dracula, and like the secret to defeating him will probably be connected in sorting out fact from fiction. Riley and Xander are ready to rush in, guns blazing, to fight, but Buffy says that they need to take it slow and figure out what Dracula is capable of and how to fight him more before like forcing another encounter. Which I think is very smart of her.
Yeah.
I think Riley is just bored.
Yeah. It's just Riley.
Yeah. Let's see. After doling out assignments, the team break and everyone heads home. On their way home, Dracula confronts Xander and turns him into his minion. He hypnotizes Xander, telling him to be his eyes and ears during the day, and if he does what he wants, he'll turn Xander into a vampire.
Great.
Which I think is interesting that Xander has never voiced any interest in being turned into a vampire.
No.
I think it's that, I mean, he tells him that he can be immortal. I don't know if Xander doesn't connect that with the fact that he's going to be turned into a vampire, if he just thinks he's going to be immortal. But I don't know. But it's just weird. Let's see. Riley heads out and decides to pay a visit to Spike in his crypt. He tries to pump Spike for information about Dracula in exchange for money. Turns out Spike and Dracula are old rivals. Riley asks Spike about the special tricks that Dracula can do, but Spike explains that it's all just showy gypsy stuff, basically explaining that Dracula is basically a vampire with gypsy powers in the Buffy universe.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's nice that they give us that little explainer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the power to, turn into like smoke and stuff. It's pretty good power.
Yeah. It makes me think of so in Vampire Diaries, Damon in like the first episode when you meet him is shown to have like powers to turn into a bat and to summon fog and all this stuff. and then never uses them again. And I guess there are powers, from what I understand, I've never actually read the books, but I guess there are powers that he has in the books that they just never utilized again on the show. So he does it once and then never again.
Like, this does not translate very well to the TV.
It's, yeah. I don't know if it's that it doesn't translate well to TV or that they didn't want to, they wanted to use it once in, like, the first episode they have him in to appease the fans, but they never used it again. I don't know. It's weird.
Right.
But I was just like, huh. Let's see. That night, Dracula breaks into Buffy's house. Buffy and Dracula talk. He comments on the scar on her neck, where she has been tasted before. Being fans of the show, we know that that Buffy's been bitten twice in the past. First by the Master in Prophecy Girl, and then again by Angel. So Dracula seduces / charms / hypnotizes Buffy into allowing him to bite her. Buffy wakes up the next morning and throws a scarf around her neck to hide the fresh bite marks. Willow, Buffy, Xander, and Riley all meet up at Giles' place for a debrief from the evening's research. Willow says they have Dracula facts, and Xander responds with, that's not enough to fight the Dark Master. Vader. This becomes a running joke with Xander of trying to hide the fact that he is Dracula's minion in this episode, and I think it's hysterical every time.
Yeah.
Xander tries to throw the team off the likes to live in style trail, but they ultimately decide to start checking out the nice houses first. Willow also reveals that Dracula's motivations are different than other vampires. He will kill just to feed, but he prefers to have a mental connection with his victims and toy with their minds first. Kind of makes me think of, like, Angel when he was Angelus, and we know that he liked to torture his victims before killing them.
Right.
That's the reason that Drusilla was mad. Mad as in, like,
Right.
bonkers.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. Not angry.
Yeah, because right. I mean, she already had the visions before, but, like, Angel killed and tortured her entire family and then tortured her before turning her into a vampire. So, but yeah, it just kind of made me think of, like, Dracula likes to do similar mental manipulation things to his victims, except that Dracula seems to like to manipulate his victims into wanting to be bitten, into wanting to be turned, wanting to be killed. Yeah. Not the sign of a healthy relationship.
No, definitely
not. After becoming extremely uncomfortable hearing about how Dracula likes to seduce women to the point where they are basically begging for him to turn them into a vampire, Buffy decides to head out and take him down. Riley runs after her, insisting that she take off her scarf. After accusing her of being under the thrall of the Dark Prince, Riley rips the scarf off from around her neck, and the bite marks are revealed to the group. I have an issue with how he rips the scarf off of her neck because it was tied, and he just kind of, like, grabs it and pulls. Thankfully, the knot apparently wasn't very tight, and it didn't, like, yank her by the neck when he pulled the scarf off. But, like, dude, come on! You could just, like, pull it down a little bit. You didn't have to, like, just... Yeah. I don't know. I have a problem with that. Riley is jealous of Dracula and makes some stupid connection between Buffy having feelings for Angel, meaning she would easily have feelings for Dracula. I think he tells her it's like transference or whatever. It's stupid psychobabble. I don't like Riley.
Fair enough.
Let's see. At 2 points during the last scene, we see Xander eating bugs. It's part of the Dracula minion trope. It's gross, and we don't need to talk about it anymore. Moving on.
Fair enough.
It's revealed that Dracula was able to get into the Summers house due to accidentally being invited in by Joyce. Joyce is, like, very apologetic about the whole thing. She's like, you don't understand. Like, I don't usually invite strange men into my home for coffee. He was just so charming and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we all get it. It's fine, Joyce. You are forgiven. At the invitation of Xander, and the insistence of her friends, Buffy is hiding out from Dracula in Xander's basement. As the night approaches, Xander locks Anya in a closet and says that he's supposed to deliver Buffy to Dracula. He's like, it's this whole deal where I get to be immortal. And she's like, okay, let's go. um, Oh, okay. So I have a note in here. How are there so many castles in Sunnydale? We know there were at least 3 or 4 that Riley and Giles were checking out, plus the one that Angel used to live in, plus the one that Dracula is actually living in. How big is this town?
I don't know. It's a very strange town, especially where like California and the settling of California is so far away from like when castles were being made. That is just ridiculous.
Yep. It's fine though. Plot, it's okay. um Xander brings Buffy to Dracula. She tries to pull a Buffy, oh, you thought I was under your thrall, whips out stake, guess again. But Dracula tells her to put down the stake, and she does so without argument. Buffy suddenly realizes she's more under Dracula's thrall than she realized. He tells her that she can't resist him because she doesn't want to. Dracula tells her that there is much he needs to tell her about her powers and how and where they came from, and she'll have an eternity to learn once he turns her. Now, I have a question here. If Buffy was to turn into a vampire, would she retain her Slayer powers?
I think yes. I think it would stack.
Okay.
Personally, I don't know. I have nothing to go off of. That's just what I've always assumed in my head. Is that she would have the Slayer powers plus the vampire powers.
Mm-hmm. Because if it doesn't stack, then what? Then what Dracula's talking about makes no sense. It's like, why would she want to learn about the powers she had as a human if she's a vampire with not the same powers?
Right. Yeah, I think the Slayer powers are now like an intrinsic part of Buffy, so it would carry over to her. But who knows? Only the writers of this show know for sure.
Let's see. So Dracula says there's going to be so Dracula says there's going to be a little taste, and Buffy says she's not going to let him bite her again, but he basically says he's not going to be the one doing the tasting. So yeah, then we cut away. While trying to get to Buffy, Xander gets in Riley's way, saying that he won't let Riley hurt his master. Riley knocks him out. Just one punch. Xander's out cold. Meanwhile, Giles falls into a room where he's confronted by 3 female vampires who seemingly want to run their hands all over his body.
Of course.
Back with Buffy and Dracula, Dracula offers her his blood, saying, you think you know what you are, what's to come, you haven't even begun. Buffy takes his wrists and drinks some of his blood, causing her to see visions of herself fighting / hunting vampires and visions of the first Slayer. Now, with Dracula's blood in her system, Buffy is able to break Dracula's thrall and resist what he wants her to do. Buffy opens up a can of whoop-ass and fights Dracula.
It's very, very cool. Very, iconic part of Buffy. Her actually kicking Dracula's ass.
It reminds me of, in Halloween when Buffy is, like, the helpless girl and Spike is about to bite her, and then all of a sudden she turns back into Buffy and just opens up a can of whoop-ass on him. That's what it reminds me of. Elsewhere, Riley rescues Giles from the chick pit. Giles is like, oh no, my shoe, I guess I have to go back in. Riley's like, no more seductive vampires for you. Come on, let's go. Back at the fight between Buffy and Dracula, Dracula starts using his tricks, and Buffy gets the better of him, managing to stake him just as he's solidifying from being smoke. Giles and Riley catch up with Buffy, who now reports that Dracula is dead, and she's chock full of free will again. Xander rushes in, angry about Dracula making, like, what Dracula made him do and wanting a piece of the fight. Buffy tells him that Dracula's gone, and Xander launches into one of my all-time favorite lines, like slash exchanges. Xander goes, "You know what? I'm sick of this crap. I'm sick of being the guy who eats insects and gets the funny syphilis. As of this moment, it's over. I'm finished being everybody's butt monkey." And Buffy goes, "Check. No more butt monkey."
Oh man.
I just love it so much. This is where I'm like, yes, this is a Marty Noxon episode. Nobody writes Xander like Marty Noxon does.
Oh man.
So the gang go to leave the mansion, and we see smoke start to re-solidify as Dracula comes back to life. Buffy's there to stake him again. He starts to re-solidify a second time. So, like, he solidifies, she stakes him again, he turns to dust again. And then he starts to re-solidify again. And she's like, "Are you kidding me? I'm standing right here." And the smoke, like, goes away again.
Yeah, I love when he like starts to come back and she stakes him the second time. She's like, "What? I've seen in your movies you always come back." Oh man.
So the next day we see Buffy arriving at Giles's place. He says he wants to talk to her about something, and she says she has something she wants to talk to him about as well. Giles insists that Buffy go first. Buffy starts talking about how Giles hasn't been her watcher for a while, and she hasn't been training. She says that her encounter with Dracula made her face up to the spell they did in Primeval, and how she's been going out hunting every night, and there's darkness in her power. She wants to better understand her Slayer powers, where they come from, and the other Slayers that have come before her, in hopes that she'll be able to harness her powers better and be a better Slayer. She tells Giles that she's scared, she knows it's going to be difficult, and that she can't do it without him. She wants Giles to be her watcher again. Giles is clearly touched by her needing him again, and decides not to tell her that he was planning on leaving, instead opting to stay and help her.
Yeah, so pretty good. I didn't want to see Giles leave, so happy that this happened.
For sure. I mean, I love Giles, and he's such like that core father figure for not only Buffy, but really for the rest of the team, because I mean, Xander's home life we know is bad. Willow's parents are never around. I'm not even sure her father exists.
Yeah. I've never seen him. Can't confirm that he exists.
So yeah, I mean, he's such a central part of the Scoobies. It would not feel right if he left.
Yeah.
The episode ends back at the Summers' house. Buffy tells Joyce that she's heading out to the movies with Riley. Buffy heads into her room, where we see a teenage girl with brown hair standing there. Buffy asks the girl, "What are you doing here?" Before Joyce responds with, "If you're going out, why don't you bring your sister with you?" Both girls respond with an angry and reluctant, "Mom!"
Yeah, so what a twist. What the hell?
What are you talking about? Buffy's always had a younger sister.
True, right, yeah. She's always been here. Oh, man. Season 5 starting out. So hard.
Yep. She was just, either always at school, or always in bed, or always over at a friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I remember when I was younger watching this show, like, being a little confused, because, like, what, who the hell is this? Like, she's not been in this, right? Like, I'm not going crazy. She's not been in this show. Like, now, as an older person, I hope I would recognize, like, what was happening. But when I was in middle school watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I was like, did I just completely block this character out of my mind? They're all just treating her as part of the show.
And as somebody who started watching in season 4, where Buffy spent like 90% of her time at college in season 4, like, I don't think I even picked up on it that this was something unusual. I think I just assumed that she had been there before, but I jumped in right in the middle of the series, so
Oh man.
I mean, they even make a joke during Restless that Buffy hasn't been home in a while. Faith makes the joke in when she did her Buffy crossover episodes before the crossover on Angel. I mean, Faith even makes like the joke about, a lot of letters Buffy clearly hasn't been by to visit in a while, which I'm still like, why were you paying for postage when you live in the same town? But it's fine.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't think it even dawned on me that this was strange. Pun intended.
Very, very good. Hey, it's us from obviously a different day from when we were recording the other episode. We ran into technical difficulties, which is why we missed a week. But we're gonna get right back to it, and we're gonna continue to record this episode, finishing out with a Real Me. So, Jill, take it away.
All right. So, Real Me originally aired October 3rd, 2000, written by David Fury and directed by David Grossman. Two names that we know very well in this universe. So, I don't want to say it's going to be a great episode, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, especially with well, actually, I don't know. I added a bunch of episodes after the technical difficulties together, so I don't want to spoil anything that I said or you said in the future, so I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Well, we can jump in. So let's see. Episode opens with Giles training Buffy. He's leading her through some kind of like hypnosis, control, and balance exercise until Dawn knocks over some rocks, breaking Buffy's concentration and causing her to fall on her head.
Very nice. Very little sistery out of Dawn here.
Yeah, so we learned that the brown hair girl we met at the end of the last episode is Buffy's little sister, Dawn.
Yes. She's been here the whole time. Everyone knows it, loves it. Fan favorite character from all the other seasons.
Uh-huh. Definitely always been around. Don't question it. So we get to meet Dawn a little bit more through her internal monologue while she writes in her diary throughout the episode. She struggles with being the kid sister of a powerful slayer who gets all the attention. She feels misunderstood and doesn't think anyone knows the real her.
Well, we certainly don't as the audience. Although I will say, when I was watching this as, a younger Brian, obviously I didn't watch the series all the way through in order. So I got to Dawn appearing, and I was like, maybe I just don't remember her, or like maybe she has been in this before, and it's just like I missed that, or I forgot, or something. So I kind of was like just going with it, like, okay, I guess Dawn's been a character. So
see, and I was in a similar situation where I came in midway through season 4, and Buffy was in college. So when all of a sudden she just has a little sister, I'm like, okay, like maybe, she just wasn't around in the last season because Buffy wasn't home a lot.
Yeah, and it's not out of the realm of possibilities of shows randomly adding a new relative. Like, it's happened a bunch of times in other shows. Like, this is a way more deliberately written show than, like, say, like a sitcom where they'll add, like, a little sister character or a cousin you've never met before who now is a main cast member. But yeah, it is what it is.
Riverdale comes to mind, where it's just like, oh my goodness, it was this murdered person's twin brother.
Right. Or Degrassi, where it's like, oh, the main characters are going to age out, but here's the main character's sister that was never mentioned. He's going to be the main character next season.
I mean, at least they kind of, at least thinking of like UK Skins, they at least introduced Effie like way before, so it wasn't so weird when they transitioned over to a new cast.
Effie's in the first scene of the first episode. Like, she's not. Actually, she does have a lot of interesting parts, but she doesn't talk a lot in the first season of Skins. But when and I actually, huge tangent, but I think that's why the like generation after Effie's generation never really caught on for a lot of fans, is because there wasn't like an overlapping character to keep you like engaged.
Yeah, that's exactly what I experienced. Where how many seasons was Nick Holton?
The first 2.
Yeah, so it was his 2, and then was it 2 more seasons with the Effie generation? Yeah. So I like binged the first 4 seasons of that show.
Right.
And then could not get into the last season, and then, or the fifth or sixth or whatever season, and then skip to
Yeah.
the end where they brought back a couple of the characters in like little 2-episode catch-ups.
Yeah.
Where it was like Effie, Cook, and
Cassie.
yes. Yeah, but after, like, in between, I couldn't get into that additional generation. I don't know. But
I mean,
anyway.
it should say that they brought back only characters from the first two. And then when they made it, they did not bring back an update on those other characters. So
Yep.
that should say enough.
But I'm sorry. Tangent. So let's get back to Buffy.
We'll save that for our Skins podcast.
Oh, God. That would be awkward to talk about. They have a lot of sex.
Yes. It's a great show. Go watch it if you're not, turned off by that.
As long as you're of, what, is it like TV 14 or something?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. But let's see. Okay, so Riley comes over to see Buffy, but Buffy forgot and had plans that she has made with Giles to keep training. Buffy asks Riley if he minds. He says that he doesn't. Giles picks Buffy up with her tag-along Dawn in his new car. He's clearly still going through his midlife crisis thing and was seduced by picking a red sports car with an automatic transmission that he's not used to. Nice throwback to how Spike crashed his car back in New Man last season.
Mm-hmm. I always love the complaint, like, an automatic transmission is so easy to drive. Like,
I know.
I always feel like, why is just like, how is this hard? Like, yeah, you have the muscle memory of shifting, but like, that's bound to go away. I don't know. People always complain about that, like, oh, I'm so used to the automatic, I can't even drive, or I'm so used to the manual, I can't even drive this automatic. It's like, you don't have to do anything.
Well, that's the joke, because he keeps shifting his car into neutral by accident.
Right. So
Because
I guess there's that.
Yeah, he's so, and like the way that the automatic transmissions work, you can't like shift it into like park or reverse or something while you're in motion, but you can shift it to neutral.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think it's hysterical. And Buffy's like, Giles, are you breaking up with your car? And he's like, well, it did seduce me being all, red and sporty.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes to show that, like, even though Giles is supposed to be like the adult of the group and the one who has it all together and, whatever, he's still like, the car seduced me.
Oh, man.
So let's see. Giles, Buffy, and Dawn meet up with Willow and Tara, who are both heading to the magic shop as well. Buffy tells Willow that she had to drop a class for like the new semester, due to having more time to study with Giles and to train with him. So she can't take drama with Willow anymore. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised that Willow is taking drama, seeing as she seems to have a very strong fear of being up on stage, as demonstrated 3 times in the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, I don't know if she's just tackling it head on or what the thing is here, but a surprise to be sure.
Yeah, because we saw it in the puppet show, in that kind of during the closing credits scene where they're doing Oedipus up on stage and she forgets her line and just runs off. We also saw it in Nightmares, where she has that nightmare. Is it the one about being up on stage in an opera that's not in English and she doesn't know the words or whatever? And then we saw it again in Restless, so the end of last season. So I'm a little bit surprised that Willow's taking drama. Also, what is Willow's major? Like, we know that she took psychology. We know that she's taking drama. Like, I get that you can take, like, extra... I don't want to call them extracurriculars. I don't remember what the word is for them.
Electives.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, they didn't have those in grad school, which is the most recent education that I have, so...
No, that's a little more focused than...
Yeah. Even in college, I think the electives that I took were still like I got a mini minor in computer science as part of like my electives.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm just like, we see her take psychology. We know that she's going to be taking drama. Like, what classes is she taking in whatever major what is her major? I don't know.
And at one point, she was like using the lab as an excuse, the cover to see Tara and stay over there, and like no one questioned that. So she must be taking labs as well. I don't know.
Well, she just said lab. She didn't say science lab or computer lab. Maybe.
True.
I don't know. She very well, and I've done some research on this online of people like speculating that she must have been like a dual in like chemistry or biology and then also in computer science, which I can see, but it's like, do we ever hear her like taking any classes related to either of those things?
No, she doesn't even have to worry about the computer science class. She's taught computer science at this point. She's
This is true. This is true. She's hacked the freaking government to get into the mayor's office, so they should just give her a degree at this point. Oh no, we know that she's taking history at one point, but that's kind of like one of those things that you have to take.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. But yeah, so the gang arrive at the magic shop only to find it dark and seemingly closed. They find the door unlocked and head inside to investigate, finding signs of a struggle and the owner dead on the ground. Buffy quickly escorts Dawn out and tells her to wait outside. Outside, she's confronted by a clearly crazy guy who says he's a cat and says that he knows Dawn what she is and that she doesn't belong here, whatever that means. Shortly after, Tara heads outside to wait with Dawn.
Thankfully, Tara shows up.
But like, Tara shows up and Willow's just, Dawn's just like sitting on the sidewalk. It's like, what happened to the crazy guy? He just must have gone away. But there's like a really sweet scene between Tara and Willow, Tara and Dawn. What is wrong with me today? I don't even know.
It's okay. We planned this recording session last minute so you're not in the mental headspace.
I didn't just watch this episode. It's been a couple of weeks. But there's this really sweet scene between Tara and Dawn where Tara like really kind of connects with Dawn, like understands what it's like feeling like an outsider of the group, and she's kind of like another big sister to Dawn. She's like, so you want to thumb wrestle? As they're like both stuck sitting outside waiting while Giles, Willow, and Buffy do their like investigator thing, which takes them a little bit too long to call the cops, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So while doing some detective work inside the magic shop, Willow discovers that there's something missing from one of the cases, a ceramic unicorn. Giles asks what unholy creature likes cheap, tasteless statues, and we get a nice little cut over to the answer: Harmony.
Of course.
We see that Harmony has put together her own gang. She now has minions.
Oh boy. Here we go.
One of the minions is played by Tom Lank, who will come back to play another character later this season. We find out that Harmony is planning to kill the Slayer that evening, using the books her minion stole from the magic shop. Joyce gets upset with Buffy for not only failing to bring Dawn to get school supplies, but also bringing her to the scene of a crime, and murder, no less. Buffy wants to go out patrolling to track down the vampires who killed the magic shop owner, but Joyce is frustrated because they need someone to watch Dawn. Buffy calls in a favor and gets Xander to come babysit, which Dawn is fine with, as she has a crush on Xander.
Also, to defend them, they didn't know they were bringing Dawn to a murder.
No, not at all. It's like, that was not the intention. But Joyce is still like really mad at Buffy, and Buffy's like, I didn't intend to bring her to the scene of a murder. We didn't know that he was dead. We were just going to the shop.
She's like, you were going to the magic shop. You knew there was a good chance.
I mean, that's fair, actually. But, so I have kind of in my notes here a side note. I get that they kind of threw Dawn in here like out of the blue, and we'll get to why and how and all that later this season. But one thing that really just annoys me about this episode is that with the introduction of Dawn, they seem to throw out Joyce's understanding and respect and like her character development regarding Buffy and her Slayer duties. It just seems like a little bit of like character de-evolution, and it just annoys me.
No, yeah, that's fair. It's we spent a long time watching Joyce find out about it, then come to terms with what it meant, and then eventually just support it outright.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to like dissect without. When we get to the end of the season, we can maybe more thoroughly go through what all of this means.
Yeah. So let's see. Xander shows up to watch Dawn for the night. Dawn's really excited until it's revealed that he's brought Anya along as well.
Oh, man.
Let's see. At their dorm, Willow and Tara are moving in, and Tara talks to Willow about Dawn. She says that she relates to Dawn and feeling like an outsider, and that trying to break into the core group of Buffy, Willow, Xander, and Giles is difficult because they are such a tight-knit group. Willow tries to address her fears, saying that she's not an outsider and that everyone considers her part of the team, but Tara is still concerned about Dawn. Which, I mean, it's sweet, and I feel like Tara's like, I understand where Dawn's coming from because I understand what being an outsider feels like. Mm. And Willow's just like, but you're not an outsider, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I feel like if I was Tara, I'd be like, no, you're missing the point here. I'm talking about Dawn, not talking about myself. I'm just saying how I can relate to her. Yeah. But yeah. Let's see. Back at the Summers house, Dawn, Xander, and Anya are playing the game of life. Anya thinks she's losing because she's burdened with a husband, lots of money, and a bunch of tiny pink children. After learning that money means you're winning, Anya asks if she can trade in the tiny children for more money. I think this might be the birth moment of Anya's love of money and moving forward in the series.
Yeah, definitely. Once she finds out that that's like the objective of life, she's like, I'm all in on it.
Yeah. There's also part of the scene where they're eating ice cream and there's ice cream dribbling down Dawn's face. It's very clear, especially in some of these earlier episodes, that Dawn was meant to be a much younger character than the actress that they cast in the role. Now, Michelle Trachtenberg, I love her. She's a fantastic actress. She is meant to be 14.
Yeah.
However, especially in these early episodes, they write her as if she is meant to be somewhere between the ages of like 6 and 8.
Yeah, I mean, they do a lot better job as it goes on. Like you said, Dawn it feels like the first few episodes, the idea of Dawn is more how they wrote it, like, and then they're like what they actually have to work with. I know there's like headcanon, like, oh, well, there's reasons why it's like this, but
a 14-year-old should not have ice cream dribbling down their chin.
No, they should not. That'd be a problem.
So I guess my understanding of what happened here from, hearing things online over the years, is that they knew that they needed to cast somebody as Buffy's younger sister. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Michelle Trachtenberg had worked together on, I believe it was like Days of Our Lives or something. There was some soap opera that Sarah Michelle Gellar was part of, and she had worked with Michelle Trachtenberg in the past. So Sarah brought Michelle in and was like, I want this to be my little sister. And they were just kind of like, okay. But they never went back to these scenes and rewrote them like, okay, she's going to be 14 and not like 6. So maybe we should rewrite some of these. But yeah.
It's hard to turn down when your lead's like, this is the perfect person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, thinking about some things later in the season that happened with Dawn, I think it's definitely better that they went with somebody a little bit older, because younger could have been really freaky. But, yeah. But yeah, so just wanted to point that out there. Let's see. Harmony shows up at the Summers' house trying to call out Buffy to come out and fight her. Xander tells her that Buffy's not home.
It's a pretty chill scene because they're not threatened by Harmony at all. No. She's not here.
and Harmony is just like cannot fathom the fact that Buffy's not home. She's like, but I'm calling her out, so she has to be home. And Xander's like, I don't know what to tell you. She's not here.
Oh man.
So let's see. Harmony introduces Xander to her minions, and Xander can't stop laughing. Harmony starts throwing insults at Xander in an attempt to defend him. Dawn accidentally ends up inviting her into the house. Anya and Xander manage to fight her off and kick her out of the house, but obviously she now has an invite, which is not so good.
Not great. Not great.
No.
Oh, man.
Xander says that Buffy's not going to be happy when she gets home and hears about Dawn inviting Harmony into the house. Cut to Buffy doubled over, cracking up at the news that Harmony has minions.
I mean, can you blame her?
No, it's hysterical. Yeah. It's like when she was with Spike was the mastermind and she was the arm candy. So now that she's the one having to come up with the plan, plan's not great.
No.
She's standing outside the Slayer's house, calling her out, and she's not home.
Oh, man.
So let's see. Back at one of the 50-plus graveyards in Sunnydale, Harmony and her gang run into Spike. Harmony and Spike seem to have a semi-respect for each other and are pretty, cordial. Harmony tells Spike that she and her gang are going to go kill the Slayer. Spike comments on how she stole his tune and should be paying royalties. He's not wrong.
No.
Especially because she was always the one trying to talk him out of trying to kill the Slayer. She's like, she's just gonna beat you up. Like, why waste your time? It's not gonna work, blah, blah, blah. And now she's being all like, I'm gonna go kill the Slayer. And Spike's like, I've heard this before.
Yeah.
From me.
Yeah, I mean, she, like you said, she tried to talk him out of it. She got staked for her trouble.
Yep.
But
yep.
Now she's in on it. She needs purpose, I guess.
So, Harmony tells Spike they have a great plan, to which Spike asks if the plan is to kidnap one of Buffy's friends and use them to lure Buffy out to kill them. Harmony says that they have a much better plan. Spike's like, oh yeah, good luck with that, and takes off. Harmony then turns around and tells her gang that they have a new plan. Clearly doing the one that Spike just jokingly pitched to her. So,
hey, it was a good idea.
I mean, he tried it before. It didn't work, but okay. Because he tried it back in, when he kidnapped Willow and Xander to try to get Willow to do a spell to get Drusilla back?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was very, very intoxicated during that whole thing, though, so I mean...
He was.
So question for you. Do you think that Spike jokingly pitched to Harmony, the plan that he jokingly pitched to her was actually a joke, or was it his way of, masterfully mentally manipulating her with a plan that he actually thought might work, thinking that she would take care of the Slayer for him and he wouldn't have to get any blood on his hands and or a throbbing headache with his chip?
Yeah, I think definitely, he was like, okay, Harmony's gonna fail, probably no matter what. But maybe if I give her a decent plan, it might work out. Who knows? And if it doesn't, it's just Harmony.
True.
So.
But yeah, I kind of agree. It's at worst, Harmony gets killed. No great loss for Spike. At best, for him, he gets Buffy out of the way. So, yeah. I just think it's funny how he, I know that we saw it a lot last season with, the whole Yoko Factor thing, but, his ability to see what's going on and manipulate people is kind of... It's almost like a superpower. It's crazy.
And it's all he has now with this chip.
Yeah. So let's see. Buffy figures out that Dawn is the one who invited Harmony into the house. She's fuming to her friends while packing her bag full of weapons to go take out Harmony and her gang. Even with Riley and Xander there defending Dawn, Dawn still manages to overhear just the wrong parts of the conversation to make her want to run away. Dawn runs out the back door only to be caught by Anya. As Anya tries to get Dawn back inside the house to safety, they get confronted by Harmony's minions, who punch out Anya and take Dawn. Yeah. Let's see. Which I think is funny because they talk about how, she has a head wound that looks pretty bad, blah, blah, blah. And then the next episode, you see her in a sling. Something happened to her shoulder that they just never addressed. I don't know. So back at her lair, Harmony monologues to Dawn about how her gang doesn't respect her. Harmony's gang decides to mutiny after Harmony won't let them kill and eat Dawn. Dawn's about 5 seconds away from being vampire food when Buffy shows up and saves her. Buffy slays all 4 of Harmony's minions. Harmony manages to escape during the fight, and Buffy saves Dawn. The girls both decide to not tell on each other to their mom about what happened. I mean, there's... Yeah, hold on. I'll say that in a minute. So the episode wraps up at the magic box, the magic shop from earlier in the episode. Giles has bought it and plans to run it. This not only gives him something to do, turns out he was so bored last year that he watched Passions with Spike, but it also gives him easy access to magic resources like spells and ingredients, and gives the Scoobies a new place to hang out so they don't have to be hanging out at his place all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I like his apartment, but I'm sure it's annoying for him to have people walking in because he refuses to lock his door all the time.
I think he said something about, like, I don't need you all traipsing through my apartment all the time. Or, like, my pad or my flat or something. He uses some British term. I don't know.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I think it's great that they have, like, this kind of endless source of being able to get magic ingredients at wholesale prices.
Yeah, this is strategically advantageous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's great.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, what I wanted to point out is that at the end of this episode, there's kind of a plot hole where Harmony still has access to Buffy's house.
Oh, man.
I mean, they know...
Presumably, yeah, they do something off screen to stop that.
Yeah, I mean, Willow is well-versed in how to fix that, and they already have all the crosses hung up all over the Summers' house anyway. I think it was so funny back in, like, season 2, I think, when they had to cleanse, you know, Buffy's house and Willow's house from Angel's invite. And they're, like, hanging up crosses in Willow's room and putting them, like, behind curtains. And Willow's is like, it's going to be really hard to explain to my mom, considering that I'm Jewish, why I have these crosses hung up all over my room. It's okay. Her mom was never around anyway.
Right.
But
yeah, it wasn't a big deal.
All right. So yeah, that is the end of this episode. What do you give it for a rating?
Oh gosh. So while I do really like the Harmony trying to be like super badass, like it's just kind of like a ho-hum episode. You know what I mean? Like it's just like not a ton happens. We get a little bit of Dawn, but we're still don't really understand why she's here. So I think I gave this a 6 out of 10 last time we reviewed it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's not a bad episode. It's just not a great episode. And considering some of the other episodes that we have, even in this season, it's not like it's not an episode that I'm ever like, oh, I want to go back and watch that episode because it's so much fun.
Right. No, I definitely agree. So we did it. We finished the episode that didn't want to be finished. We completed it.
If your OBS messes up again, I'm going to be so mad.
Yeah, whenever stuff like this happens with OBS, I'm just like, well, you get what you pay for. It's a free program. Like,
yeah.
I gotta look into investing in like XSplit or some like more, you know, expensive, but hopefully more reliable program than OBS. So we'll see. Is there anything you'd like to add before we get on out of here?
I don't think so. I appreciate everybody kind of sticking with us. Apologize for the technical difficulties and the having to delay a week. But, you know, we want to be able to cover episodes in a good quality way and not have it just be weirdly cut off at the end for you guys. So the irony is not lost on us that we just put out our 1-year anniversary episode where we talk about this being the most consistent, and then we kind of become slightly inconsistent. But technology hates us. So that should be like our tagline. The Sunnydale review, technology hates us. We're doing the best.
I'm starting to come around to Giles' way of thinking about computers, I guess. I knew the second I said that, oh, I'm really proud how consistent we've been, that's the universe would be like, well, take this, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's okay. We persevere. Just like the Scoobies.
Just like the Scoobies. Jill, where can we find you online?
If you want to find me on Twitter, I'm there. I don't look at it very often, but I have an account. So
No, I think I sent you a Buffy meme, and then like 2 weeks later, you responded to me. So that should say all you need to know about Jill's Twitter habits.
yep, true story. I can't deny it. I think you sent it to me at like the beginning of October, and I just saw it like 2 days ago. So, I mean, yeah. So, but I am there if you want to find me. I'm at Jillian_Swan, and that's Swan with 2 N's. Yeah, message me and I'll get back to it eventually. Maybe.
Eventually.
The more reliable person to get to on social media would definitely be Brian. But if you want to reach out to us through Brian's channels, I'm sure that he'll share whatever with me.
I was talking to my friend. She was like, "What?" She was like looking for a specific video clip, and she like vaguely remembered what it was. And I like knew what she was talking about, so I sent it. And she's like, "How do you always know?" I was like, "I just live on the internet, so like, if you need to get in touch with us, I'm there, 100%." Oh man, you can follow me on Twitter if you want to reach out to me at @theFakeBMar. That's BMARR. Follow me on Instagram at @SuperMarbro. You can follow the channel on Twitter at WGEverything on Instagram, at WickedGoodEverything on Twitch at twitch.tv/WickedGoodEverything. And make sure you share this with your friends and your enemies. Share it with everybody. Rate us on iTunes. Leave us a comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one. The Sunnydale Review is a Wicked Good Everything production. Fan art of Buffy was created by Fishbone Art. The logo was created by Tamar Kutab. The original intro and outro song was created by Alex Carl.